All right. Welcome back to the Perform Podcast, episode, I think we're at 23 now. We've got a very special guest on today. I think he's shitting himself just as much as me.
Yep.
But I thought we'd drag you onto the podcast. I think you know too much and you're too smart not to throw you into the deep end and question you a little bit. And also I think get to know you a bit more as well, because I don't think there's much on the socials. There's a few bits and pieces here and there, but it's getting a little bit better. But yeah, we'll, as I said before, we'll probably go through a bit of a timeline of like athlete history, getting to physio, all that kind of stuff. But I actually wanted to ask you to kick off with the question of the week. Have you seen it on the board yet?
No, I haven't. What is it?
I'm pretty sure it's if you were deserted on an island, which coach would you want to be stuck with? So option A is Keith.
Not Keith.
That's quick. Option B, DJ. C, Adam. D, Isaac. Who would you want to be stuck with and why? We got the no out of the way pretty quickly.
Yeah, not Keith.
To be fair,
too noisy.
He's got the most marks. He's got like 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I feel like DJ would have some tricks for survival.
Yeah.
Like I reckon he'd probably be a good one to keep us alive for a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be the same. I feel like you're a handy man. You could build up a few things.
I've been in survival mode a few times in my life, so.
Yeah.
But I feel like DJ's probably got. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like DJ's probably got the brains of us all, the mature one of the group. He'd be able to keep us all in one piece. All right, so I wanted to then get into. I didn't know this until Adam brought it up the other week, but you were actually like a pretty decent swimmer back in your day.
Yep.
Broke a few records as well.
Yep.
So have you always been in swimming?
Yeah, kind of like that was my thing when I was an age grouper. Like swam my whole life from pretty much like squads from the age of 8, I reckon, and started competing at 8, and then just went through for 10 years competing at like state level, national level, but until about 18, 19 years old, I reckon. Yeah, cool. It's pretty like tough sport in terms of like the commitment side of things. Like we see the kids at Trinity and like, especially through the winter, those early mornings, can be a bit of a tough grind. It was a real grind. Like I think that's probably what took its toll in the end, but particularly for mum and dad as well, I reckon, like all the early mornings and like you'd train at its peak. We were doing like 8 pool sessions, like each for a couple of hours at a time a week. Jeez. Plus like 2 gym sessions and like a dry land kind of like circuit type session a week. So that's like 11 sessions and at either side of school. Like you'd be at school all day in between and then slog in the morning and slog in the arvo and get your homework done and repeat for years on end, which was pretty strenuous. But
did it teach you anything like along the way?
I think it helped a lot with like time management and just had to be like really organised. Like it made me just like really efficient at functioning like through school and stuff. Like being able to prioritise my schoolwork as well, because that was something that was always important to me, is my academic side of things and like where I wanted to go like after school. So like I just had to try and maintain my grades as well, and was obviously very set on swimming at that point as well. Like I wanted to go to the Olympics, like that was my goal. Like when I was training. But yeah, also be able to be set for life afterwards and not just put all my eggs in the swimming basket and not have any fallback option. But yeah. Jesus, I think we made the joke a couple of times where like all of us in here are just like failed athletes that just never going to go anywhere. So like, all right, we'll just go help everyone else do it. Yeah. I think you've jumped to the top of the list in terms of like, you're probably the best of us failed athletes. So I think you win that one for now. Yeah. And then obviously, so you've at Hale, went through all the school, academics, all that kind of thing. What made you go into physiotherapy? I reckon there was a point in about year 10 where I like were just picking subjects and things like that. And I always wanted to be a doctor. My grandpa was a doctor. And then at some stage I was like, I'm probably not quite smart enough to be a doctor. And then I was like, physio is probably a good in between. Like I did always like the sports side of physio, like working for a sports team or something like that. Yeah. Even from like year 10. And then that's like definitely the turning point where I kind of considered it and was like, okay, it's like what I want to do. And then the last 2 years of my schooling was just like, I want to get into physio. Like everything was just pushing down that track. And then, was it like you saw someone else injured and you were like,
Like, was it something along those lines? Like, was there something that you seen, something that happened, or was it just like I kind of want to help in some kind of way and just lean towards that way? Or
I think being like in elite sport, like training as much as I was, and I'd had like constant physio involvement through my like swimming career, like if that's what you can call it.
we'll call it a career.
Yeah. But yeah, having so much physio input throughout my career, I was like, oh yeah, like this is pretty cool. Like I see how it's been helpful. Like I think like through even just training, like in the gym and stuff, like I had a good appreciation for the human body, and I like liked seeing what I could do, like push myself to the limits in the pool or in the gym, or like just try and get the most out of myself. So it was always going to be something like around the human body, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then physio was just like the perfect like interplay of that, I reckon, like being involved in sport and physical activity, and also like not quite a doctor.
just below.
Yeah.
But that's why it's cool, like learning that, because it can kind of make sense. Like you can see everyone's own approach in whether it's physio, SNC, whatever it is, but it's kind of tailored a bit by their own pathway.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously why I feel like you do so well here, and obviously West Coast as well, is like you've got that good blend where you obviously build really good relationships with everyone, but you know, and you've felt that ambition to be the best. So then like that's a driving factor. If someone comes to see, I've seen it with you in here, like if someone comes in here for help, you can see your brain ticking over and you're like, how do I get the absolute, because they're here for performance. They're not just here to like, obviously it's not just like, obviously that's part of it to get better and everything, but like they're here to get to that next level. So it's like, you've got this nice blend of performance and physiotherapy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that comes from like being an athlete, like having done that, like you kind of understand a little bit about athletes and like what you need to do in the process and how their brains work and how they're just constantly driven to achieve kind of the next thing, or like you dangle a carrot in front of them and then they'll want to achieve it. So like finding ways to implement that from a physio sense or a performance sense, I think like just gets the best outcomes as well. Like just the understanding of that.
Is that why you love the numbers?
I love the numbers. Yeah. Like I'm a proud nerd with it all. Like I love just like digesting the numbers and putting numbers to like physical attributes or impairments in physio. Like it just makes it far more interesting, and you can really like delve into them.
I think this is still the funniest thing. Like obviously it's taken a while to crack you, and I think having Keith and Adam, they're always the best at helping to crack people. But obviously the other week we started to get more and more pieces of technology, and then the other day when you walked into that meeting, and Adam was like, oh, like the force frame's on its way, and you're like, is it here? I swear to God, that was the most emotion I've seen you have the whole time you've been here. Yep. It's just a bit of technology, but it's good. It's been cool because I definitely think that's the piece that we needed the most here, was A, the data side of things, but then B, especially in that physio side. And like, it's helping us so much that where the guys are going to see you, they're getting their numbers or they're getting their targets or they're getting something, and straight away they're driven, and then we can focus on the outside around that. So it's been really cool to see that. And obviously you're a kid in a candy shop with all the tech you've got now. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to see how you've used it. I think I've learned a lot already, which has been pretty interesting. Yeah,
I feel like I can just function. I can treat exactly how I want to be able to treat. Like I've got everything around me, and that's kind of like credit to you to like, you asked me early on, like, what do you need? And I was like, oh, well, this would be good. Like a dyno would be good, or like force train would be good. And you've gone and got it.
Surprised I went and got it.
Yeah, straight away as well. Like, yeah. And then I've just like been able to treat exactly how I would at the Eagles. Like I can just use the same numbers, use the same tests, and use my brain to interpret the data and then apply it straight away, and then apply it in a way that's like you're surrounded by S&C coaches who can then support the program, like support the rehab program that I write with the whole program for the entire athlete as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you find, I know for me, like, obviously if we're getting into the physio, sports science kind of world, like we're obviously all driven by numbers in some sense, and I find there's like this element of calmness when you've got the data. Like, you know, and I can imagine where a lot of other physios struggle in clinics where they don't have as much tech. It's good to see that it's evolving that way, but like, do you feel a lot calmer in your approach? Because obviously you need that subjective side, but you feel a bit calmer now that I got those numbers, I see where you are, I see where the gaps is, and then I can connect my exercises, or is it?
Yeah, I think it helps. Like I've kind of been in both settings where like you have to just make do. And
did you learn a lot in that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely meant that my clinical skills had to get better. Like, you have to build a foundation of clinical skills before you can, like, then use something like the equipment and get all the data from it. Like, that doesn't really mean anything if you don't know how to apply it. And I think working in a different setting has allowed me to know how to apply it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they both are important, but definitely makes me more comfortable, like, knowing that I'm delivering good practice when I've got the numbers to back up what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah, okay.
And I think, like, talking about the athletes buy-in before as well, like, I think having the numbers there is so important for the athletes, like, and it gives you buy-in with their programs as well. Like, otherwise sometimes what you're saying can just, like, fall on deaf ears until you're like, oh, it feels like you're about 80% from where you need to be, and then you have a deficit of 20%, you're like, oh, it's actually matches up pretty well with, like, what we actually think where you're at and stuff like that.
So you feel like they're both pretty important in terms of, like, so if there is a physio out there that's in a clinic that might not have as much tech, it's like, don't stress. Like, this is a good place to be, essentially, to learn your subjectivity and learn that other side of things. But then at the same time, to have that there for you, it's just going to match up your, I guess.
100%. Like, I think you need to be able to do it without the bells and whistles, but then once you've got the bells and whistles, it's far more enjoyable as well.
See the smile on his face, Jesus. All right, so, and then obviously, so you explain your pathway into physio, studied, and obviously continue studying as well.
Yep.
So you're doing your masters.
Yep.
Nearly finished.
Nearly finished. Yep.
How's that been?
3 out of 4 semesters done. So it's been good. It's been a bit of a slog. Like, obviously you go to do your undergrad straight from school, and then to do your masters you got to go and do 2 years of clinical experience, and then you can start your masters. So 2 years working minimum, and then you can do musculoskeletal, sports, or pelvic health. So I'm doing my sports physio masters, and only one more semester to go, so a couple of units left. But it's been super interesting. Like, I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was, like, thinking about doing it. Like, I think it's definitely added to my clinical skills and my practice, and I think being able to work in an elite setting at the Eagles at the same time, and then also be here, like, it's made everything, like, so applicable straight away. So I can, like, go and learn something at uni or consolidate something at uni, and then it fits the exact setting that I'm working in both places that I work. So it's very applicable.
It must be nice to be able to pick up that data or pick up the information, I guess, and then be able to go and put that in straight away. Because obviously that's going to be the best scenario to really understand the information. Yeah, cool. And then obviously, like you mentioned a few times, at West Coast, the girls, the AFLW team. How did that come about? When did that start up? What was the journey into that?
So I started working at the club in 2018, just as a sports trainer in the men's program. Which topped off with a premiership that year. So I thought it was all pretty easy. Like, just stroll in.
Just straight in, and this is it.
This happens all the time, and it's obviously changed a little bit since then. But so I was a sports trainer there for a few years, and then once the AFLW team started, they were just looking for trainers to start, and I was pretty keen to jump on board from the start. Like, I thought it was cool to be part of the team from their inception. So from the first season the AFLW started, I worked as a trainer with the women's program as well. And then there was kind of a crossroads where they were like, oh, you can't work in the men's program and the women's program anymore. And I chose the women's program, and then worked as a trainer there. When COVID came up, we had to go to the hub over in Melbourne, and I got the opportunity to go and live in the hub for a month, and as a trainer there, and just, like, help with treatment hands and stuff like that alongside Yippee and the other physio Lara at the time. And then off the back of that, a job opened up as a physio, and they said, oh, do you want to take on the rehab role? And I feel like I just almost happened to be in the right place at the right time, and then obviously jumped at the opportunity to go into that role, and now I'm my 4th season working as the rehab physio with them, which has just been awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's
like the dream, really. It's like you get, like, working as a sports trainer to, like, maybe get your foot in the door for, like, an opportunity, and then, like, you don't hear of it really that often where an opportunity's actually come up, and then I've slotted in. So I feel very fortunate in that regard. But I also I do put it down to like my work ethic and like my relationships with people. Like I think I'd have earned the opportunity to be in that spot as well.
Yeah.
But obviously very grateful as well.
Yeah. Because I won't throw you under the bus too much, but I asked some of the girls to ask some questions for you at the end of the team, at the end of the podcast. Don't worry, I won't throw under the bus too much because they've thrown some interesting questions and they've taught me a lot about you. But
good.
But obviously, like that which is a big thing, and I know obviously know Mick, know Tildy, all that. Like the way they speak about you, how detailed you are, has been massive, and I think that's again credit to your work ethic, and the trust they have in you in the rehab, and obviously just looking at the rehab as well, like Tildy's rehab, has been unreal to watch as well. So. Yeah, so obviously season starts very soon. It's a couple months, couple weeks.
Yeah, we're intra-club tomorrow, and then from there it's like pracky match against Freo, pracky match against the Bulldogs, week off, and Thursday night round 1.
Yep.
Mid-August.
Jesus.
So it comes around pretty quick.
Yeah. Which will be a pretty big year for the girls, I think. I think finals definitely on the card, surely.
I'm not going to say anything, but every year I go into like after pre-season, everyone asks me, and I'm like, oh, they're looking good. Like every year, like the sound just goes up every year, and like I don't know, just it does have a good feel about it this year, though. I'll say that much.
You can imagine, like obviously, been in the comp? Was it 2019 in the comp? I
actually can't even remember. Season 7 this year, I think.
Yeah.
Our season.
And it obviously does. Like any organisation takes a while to. Hell, I know for us, like I feel like we're 4 years in, and it feels like we're standing on our feet now. So you can imagine as it's building and building and building and building, and obviously the coaching staff you've got in there, the whole crew you've got. It's a pretty unreal list of coaching staff. So I don't know. I can just see the way it's developing. You can hear everything. Sounds like you're in for a big year.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a obviously we've got a very quick kind of snapshot of your timeline, and we'll trickle in and out as we go, but wanted to just shoot out like some of your biggest lessons so far. And obviously we've touched on a few already in terms of like the education side of things, but through West Coast, through uni, through whatever it might be, like what's been some big lessons in the physiotherapy world that you've learnt for maybe any younger physios that are listening?
That's a good one.
Big one.
Yeah.
And if anything, like I can even imagine, like even going into like the West Coast setup, like that's probably even some of the questions I had for you was like around that high performance setup, and like that ability to bring some of those pieces back. Like, what have you noticed that in the high performance setting that you've brought back here to perform, that's like translated over? Has it been initial consultations? Has it been the certain assessments you've done? Has it like, what have you feel from the high performance setup has helped a lot with the clinical side of things? Is anything?
Yeah, I think having access to everything, like being at a club that just has everything and gives you everything, you can get maybe sucked into the bells and whistles and the data and things, and because you can measure so much, you do. So you have like everything, and then it's like we've got all these numbers. What are we doing with them? How are you digesting them? Like what are we changing off the back of them? So I think it's kind of helped me figure out what's important, and like not just get like too sucked into the numbers, and like try and be able to go away and make them meaningful and like make a change off the back of them. So I think that just comes with like a little bit of experience.
Like, have you like removed assessments from like from your own profiling? Have you narrowed it in on certain things? Because obviously we've just been pretty cool in our meetings. Like we've had these convos around, obviously we've got the testing and we were having conversations around what we'll do for profiling, things like that. But yeah, like have you gone to a certain point where you've gone, oh geez, I got too much assessments, there's too much going on, and you've pulled things back? Is it, I've gathered all this data, but then I've just taken things with grains of salt? Is it?
I think it's a matter of being able to have all the assessments somewhere in your brain or somewhere in your kitty to be like, these are all the assessments that I can do, and then be able to fit it to a clinical case. That's like, maybe it's like a quad injury, and you're wanting to assess their kicking leg. how that assessment might differ from a hamstring injury on their non-kicking side, or like it's just like being able to clinically reason those things and those aspects, but still have the full kitty ready to go. But then just being like, okay, I'm just going to pick these 2 tests to do and not just do all 10, because all 10 probably aren't meaningful. Yeah. It's like doing maybe a couple and finding 2 that are really relevant and quite well reflect where the athlete's at, or how much the impairment's kind of recovered.
Yeah, like mechanism of injury, like how they've done it, things like that.
Like applying it to the athlete, like more specifically, like if it's their position or their athletic profile or the injury itself.
Yeah, cool. Any other big lessons you've had along the way? Even just like sorry, I'm talking about like personal skills, like anything you've picked up from like working with the girls and things like that. Or
I think just like the biggest one, like you mentioned, like if young physios listening, like developing your communication and like rapport building skills is just simply the most important thing. I think I think about it quite often where someone will be like, oh, I went to this physio and they were so good. Often like you don't know like how they are clinically. You're not like, oh, this person was so good clinically, that's why I'm going home and telling my friends that this person's really good physio. It's probably just because they've like made you feel special, or they made you feel heard, or that they presented a very clear plan to you, or like just the way that they were interacting with you was more important. Like it's not actually that they're the best clinician in the world, but they might have made a difference to you through like the way that they've interacted with you. And I think like that's probably one of our most important skills, and one of the most meaningful as well. Like so just being able to develop relationships over your entire career, but then just like make every interaction an important one as well.
It must be hard. It must be hard because I feel like obviously the S&C, but even from physiotherapy, like it, like going through your uni, going through your masters, obviously big clinical hours, big hours. You're trying to get yourself set up. Like it's a lot, and it's a lot of. It can be quite draining in terms of like just like I know if even like the hours that you do and you're back and forth between here and blah blah back and forth. Master study as well, like it obviously must be pretty demanding for a physiotherapist. So like trying to maintain that communication side, maintain that relationship side while you're tight. Like do you have anything that you do? Like is there anything you do to, I guess a bit of a side question, but like look after yourself, refresh yourself, I guess different perspective on like I'm having a big day, I've been in the clinic 8 hours or whatever it might be. Like is there anything that you use to keep yourself fresh and sharp and with that in mind, I guess?
Yeah, I think like you say, it can be draining sometimes, like just being you're trying to be the best version of yourself all the time for all your patients, and you're trying to like invest all of yourself into every like engagement with people. So that can be draining, but like I just find I'm quite content like with myself, like spending time with myself. Like I'll just go to the beach and jump in, have a dip and sit there by the beach with my coffee and not talk to anyone for like an hour.
Recharge the batteries.
I think that's how I actually do it, but it's like, just go and appreciate the small things for a split second and then take some time to yourself or
I was really
go and
very
exercise.
Philosophical there from Chinny.
That's
good, but I think
words of wisdom.
100%. But I think that's important. Like, obviously you can get caught up in the chaos of it all, but if you're not looking after yourself and you're not recharging that battery, so that's probably just it's a good piece of advice. Just getting that little bit of like time to yourself, reset the battery, do some things you enjoy, which I can imagine be massive. Obviously, you're enjoying what you're doing right now, which helps, and your environment is big as well. I think so.
And that's what I reckon. Like I genuinely love what I do. Like I get so much enjoyment from watching my athletes succeed, and I feel like that in itself refreshes me. Like I'll grind through someone's rehab with them and like be there for a whole long journey and like the ups and downs in between. But then when you see them, like the joy on their face when they get back to playing or like achieve some of their goals, it makes it like instantly worth it. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Like I played a little part in that. Like I was there for the journey, and like that, that gives me a lot of fulfillment and is enough to justify what I do, I reckon.
Must be such a good feeling, especially like from a physiotherapist perspective. Most of the time you're there pre-surgery or you're at the moment of injury, which is obviously a pretty traumatic situation for most of them if it's a long-term injury. you're there after the surgery. You're there for all the getting the range of motion back, getting all those basic day-to-day functions back, and then you see them back in their sport.
Yeah,
must be pretty cool, kind of like process to watch along the way.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like it's you're so invested in it because you're there the whole time, like from injury to return and everything in between. Like you're part of, which is like special in a way. Like, but it's obviously not easy for the athlete. Like I don't try to like say that I know exactly what they're feeling, but I try my best to listen to them and make that journey easier and more enjoyable and kind of a bit more fulfilling for them as well.
Yeah, I guess that comes back to you being an athlete, you having your own ups and downs. You know what it feels like, your investment, and then like you said, you obviously love what you do. And I think that overrides everything. I watch the boys in here, and it's like it doesn't matter what day it is. Like they love what they do, and I think that overrides. And you can see it. You can see it when people really love what they do. So that's pretty cool. And then, I guess obviously you started here something briefly not too long ago. But obviously Tildy hyped you up a fair bit. The whole crew, even Mick, hyped you up a fair bit. Everyone did. And that's what we were kind of that road where we're like, we want to build out, and not so much a high performance setup, but I think we were definitely missing that physiotherapy side of things here. And I was definitely looking for the right person to come in, and definitely headhunted you a little bit. Sorry about that. But I think that was part of it as well. It was like I saw how invested you were, the feedback, but then even just like meeting you a couple of times, like the first questions were like on like the physio side of things and the athlete side of things, and you're really invested, which I think was massive. But have you enjoyed it so far?
Loved it. No, I've really enjoyed it so far. Like in the however many weeks it's been now, like I feel like I really just slotted in and feel like I can just practice exactly how I want to practice. Like this is the perfect setup for me. Like being surrounded by you guys and some coaches that can then implement like a lot of my recommendations or like just complement my rehab program with a whole athletes program. Like I think that makes it like a really high level program. Like it just elevates my rehab to actually be more effective as well. Like I can prescribe something or I can like recommend something, and previously maybe it's not going to get done or won't get done to the same standard that I want it done. But here, like that's going to be covered. Like they can do it right here. They can make sure it's done to a good quality because it's being watched by a coach as they're doing it, and then they can take it onto the field sessions or eventually return to play. Like the way the system like functions here is just the same as it would like at footy. Like for me, like I can have the same interventions that I would at footy. Like they can come here and train as much as they like and hopefully get back to pretty good level of performance as well.
Yeah, cool. Anything you're looking forward to? I feel like we've had a couple of these little chats about like things we want to implement and build into it. Like, is there anything you're excited about? Anything you're looking forward to adding to Perform or anything along those lines like that you can think of? Or are you just living in the moment right now?
I'm looking forward to getting a whole lot of data from our new fancy
just
equipment.
living next to the force rack.
Yeah. No, it will be good. Like once we can start to develop our own like norms and things and some kind of like meaningful data for the cohorts that we've got and implement that side of things and just start providing like or continue to provide like a really high standard service for athletes in Perth. Yeah.
Which the thing is obviously where we've been pushing for that, but I think that was probably the bigger one is like I think that's something we're going to try and do a bit more in the off season is like you said, like that pre-screening, that pre-injury screening, that profiling side of things, and getting groups, cohorts, getting rugby groups through, getting AFL groups through, getting basketball groups through, the Wildcats Academy, the teams that we got, whatever it might be, and starting to build our own pools because the data nerd over here is obviously very excited to start to see those pieces connect together. But then obviously you can probably explain a bit better than me, but like how you might use that data. So let's say, for example, let's get someone in, we do some pre-injury screening. What could you then do with that data? Like, let's say down the track, next year they get a hamstring strain, they get a shoulder, whatever it might be. Like, what would that data do?
Yeah, so a lot of the time, like when we're comparing like results, it's often like you're looking at asymmetries or comparing to like pre-injury data. And then the limitation with asymmetries, if you don't have any baseline data, is that you might just be comparing to quite a bad baseline. Like, say, for example, you've got a new ACL injury on your right side, you've had to have some time off, like you've had surgery, you've had a general anaesthetic, like you've not been able to train the same way you normally train. Your left side, your unaffected side's already getting weaker at the same time, and then we're starting to compare your right side to your left side, but your left side's already worse than what it was beforehand as well, and you're starting to compare like two things that are gradually getting worse.
Yeah.
So I just like try and pick the hardest thing to achieve and set that as the goal. So then you kind of know that you've covered all bases. So then if you have like a meaningful baseline, like you know what your strength was before the injury, you can return them to that rather than returning them to this like other limb that you don't know whether that's back to its normal as well. So it's like using both. Like asymmetry is definitely important, but using that alongside your like pre-injury data as well to kind of make sure that they're back to their same level of performance. And to be honest, I like to aim for better than that level. Like it just makes sense. Like if you're in something like an ACL injury where you've got that much time, like it makes sense for them to be a better athlete than they were when they came in. And I think that's something to strive for.
I've got two questions for you. I can imagine too, like if we've seen this a bit where people have come here because of an injury, not before an injury. So then that 100%, that point where like they go through this 9 to 12 months of rehab and they've done all this physical development beyond what they did before. So I guess you probably see that more than us in terms of like you see people that go through this whole rehab process and their numbers are a lot higher than before.
Yeah.
But then just to come back to that point before, like what kind of testing? Is it like jump testing? Is it like, let's say we have someone that comes in tomorrow, I'm going to use Mason out. Mason comes in tomorrow and we're going to do some pre-injury screening. Like what kind of would you use? And then, like run us through how that might work. Like would it be like CMJ? Would it be single leg jumps? Like, would it be groin squeeze? Like, even just use like a jumps variation or something.
It kind of depends on like what the goal is or what the injury is, but we kind of have access to like you can do all your muscle screens. Like you can do your quads, your hammies, your calves, your adductors, abductors.
Like ISOs, the ISOs.
ISO strength.
Yep.
And then your vertical plyos, so you can do like your CMJs, your single leg CMJ, drop jump, single leg drop jump.
Yeah.
Like stiffness measures, like 10-5 tests, like hop tests.
Yeah.
And then I still do like some kind of horizontal plyo as well, like just a single leg hop distance or triple hop crossovers, side hops. Whatever, yeah. And that's just lower limb. So
So we could grab that ISO testing, we could grab that jump testing, and then the numbers that, let's say we're talking about Mason. Mason gets those numbers, and for whatever reason down the track, he does a hamstring, he does whatever it might be. That's his baseline to get back to. Yeah. Or you want more than that? Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on the specific case, I reckon. But yeah, having a meaningful baseline from like when they're actually at peak performance or like functioning at peak performance just means that you know what to aim for and like what they're capable of as a minimum.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that should be a minimum requirement, is that you know that like that's what they're capable of, unless they're somehow compromised in the meantime. Like,
and I can imagine, because I've seen it do it with some of the soft tissue stuff that we've had here, or the small injuries, like you can see the motivation in them. Like when you've got that pre-injury data, I think we had it for Cam, like Cam had an LCL injury or something like that. We had some older data. We looked at that, looked at his jumping, and then he knew what he needed to do in the gap. That was the motivation in training.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can see it sometimes in rehab where you're going through exercises, you're ticking your rehab, but what's driving it?
Yeah.
So I can imagine, I've seen it, the crew in here when they've got those numbers to chase, it's pretty motivating to.
Yeah, I think it like just puts into perspective like where you're at in your rehab as well. Like you might feel like you're pretty ready to go, and then you just like do one of those tests and you see that how far off you are, and you just know you're not quite there yet. Like in the past, I've had athletes like when I haven't had access to that kind of data, like they pretty much play at that stage. Like as soon as you feel better and there's no clear signs of the injury, they're pretty much playing.
Yeah.
And like they might just be an amateur athlete, but that's still going to put them at an increased risk of re-injury.
Yeah.
And it's obviously you're feeling pretty good, but you just don't know. Like you're kind of guessing at that point, being like, oh, it feels like you're at about 90%, or it feels like I'm training pretty well. Like that's one thing that's good, but yeah, having the numbers to back it up and be like, oh, but this is still like miles off where you were, like when you're at your best and like playing at your best. So yeah,
or even the inverse, where I guess where those numbers are there, they're a little bit hesitant in the back of their mind, and then they see those numbers and they're like, oh, I actually am. And that belief is there.
Yeah.
Movement, competence, movement, like I guess quality is better, etc.
Yeah, and that's still like going to be the most important thing, is the feedback you're getting from the athlete or the patient. Like if all your numbers are restored and then they're like, I just don't feel right, then I'm asking questions or I'm digging deeper, like why are they not feeling right? Like because that again might just come down to the test that you've chosen. Like you might have just chosen a test where they are fine, but is that test not relevant to their performance? So then they still don't feel quite right when they're changing direction, but you've just done an ISO quad test. Like, maybe the correlation between those two things is not as strong as you think it is. Like, so you have to, I still think it's the clinical context and what the athlete is saying is the most important thing to guide those decisions. Yeah.
And you can even see it, like I know for us and like the later stage stuff, and it's on the field, like watching people move and those details and how important that is. You can see the ones that haven't got that physical base to support the cutting or the changing direction or the max velocity, whatever it might be. And those, you can see those deficiencies versus the ones that have filled up those cups. And then obviously if we're doing what we need to do on the field and they're moving properly, then that confidence comes back, and then the layers and layers from there.
Yeah.
Pretty bit of would you say you have a bit of a rehab philosophy?
Rehab philosophy.
Would you have your own one, or I could nearly answer it obviously if you want to, but I feel like you've kind of showed a bit of your philosophy throughout the podcast a bit already.
Yeah, I think my philosophy is just like treat every athlete as their own. Like they're all going to have their own different attributes, whether it's just like them personally or like physical attributes or sporting attributes or athlete profiles, positional requirements, or other things that are going to affect them. So you might have two AFL players who are both backs and be vastly different because they're just different athletes, or they have something about them that's going to be different, I guarantee it. So you can't get sucked into treating them exactly the same. Because it's going to be different.
You can see it happen a bit in terms of like systems.
Yeah.
Like we've always been big on this, where it's like you can see systems and groups and all that kind of stuff, but 100% where they're all still their own individual, and there might be a lot of these profiling elements that are similar, but there might be a personality difference.
Yeah.
Which might change your exercise selection. So like, do you find that sometimes where like you see the systems of rehab, but then obviously you feel like as your own physio philosophy, you need to override that with, or consider other elements as well?
Yeah, definitely.
To change that approach.
Yeah, and I think that that's the nuance of it, is like being able to apply the same theory and the same theoretical concepts differently based on who you've got in front of you. Yeah. And like what's going to get the best out of that person compared to someone else it's always going to be different. Yeah. So you could give two people the exact same program and it get done completely differently due to a number of things. So like you've just got to be able to kind of change on the run.
Sounds very overwhelming with the amount of considerations you got to have, but I guess that's part of the job.
That's the beauty of it. Like it's never going to be the same. I don't think I'm ever going to be replaced by an AR robot. So
no, God,
hopefully.
All right, we've actually smashed. That's 40 minutes gone. That's pretty good.
It's fine.
So what I might do is we pretty much answered everything. I'm going to go to the questions now. Shout out to the girls, a couple of the footy girls. Now, I did say that when I ask you these questions, you can pass if you want to. We're at the back end of the podcast, so I can edit them out if we need to.
Good.
All right, and you can just say no to them. So, Mick's asked a couple questions. Shout out, Mick.
Thanks, Mick.
Can we ask you who your favourite artist is?
My favourite artist?
Or can we pass on? Do you want to pass on that one?
My musical artist.
Musical artist.
Oh, I actually have to think about it for a second.
Yeah. What about travel to China as a swimmer?
Yep.
What was that about? Was that
That was like it was called the Friendship Games. We there was like a basketball team, an athletics team, and a swimming team that all just travelled to China.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Vlahov like organised it.
Yeah.
And I think it was just some kind of like relational thing between China and Australia.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether it ever got done again, but it was a great opportunity for me.
One of one.
Yeah, like there might have been a few more. Anyway, I don't know. Got to go to China and swim there, which is very cool. Like got to swim in the Olympic pool, the World Champs pool in Shanghai.
Yeah. What else we got here? Another one sung on a Chinese talent show, apparently.
This is the same
no
trip.
No comment?
No, this is the same trip. And yeah, you had to do a performance for the talent show. And the boys swim team we sang and did like an interpretive dance to Stay by Rihanna.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Surely someone's got to dig up those videos for us.
I reckon there actually is a video of it somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, the dark web, I think.
And then I feel like Mick's just shot out a lot of good statements. And then one is they obviously know a lot about you. Won your year 7 poem competition as well, apparently.
That was my fun
apparently
fact.
You're quite good with your poems, I've heard.
Yeah, that was my fun fact for one of our camps. We had to give a fun fact. So it's in the 2010 signet for all the Hale viewers out there. Yeah. You can read my poem, but won the year 7 poetry award.
Far out. That's going in the trophy room.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got a few more questions. These are questions. We had to get the embarrassing stuff out of the way quickly.
Yeah.
Most memorable sporting achievement. And they've given an example as well.
They've given an example.
Champion boy? What's champion?
Don't know.
Maybe just your as in terms of all your achievements in swimming.
Oh, most memorable one, I reckon, is I've got a few, to be honest. Mm-hmm. They're all swimming related.
We've only got like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
We don't.
There's one that I'm particularly proud of. Like we won a gold under 16 years club relay team at nationals. Won a gold and a national record for our 4x1 medley relay. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Like I think it still stands because I think they've stopped the age group, so it might be a record
what
forever.
Age was it?
16 and under, and I don't think they run 16 and under anymore, or they don't do hundreds or something like that.
Forever in the history books.
Yeah, I think so, or I'm hoping so anyway. I'll keep telling people that.
Yeah, I heard
that's
you
probably
hold
my proudest.
a few Hale records as well.
Yeah, I think they're slowly getting ticked off. Like I coached there. I coached swimming there for 6 years after I finished, and they were slowly getting picked off. And I know another couple went this year.
Yeah. So
I think I'm still in there somewhere, but there can't be too many left. I'm pretty much written out of the books.
Hold on to those.
Yeah.
I'll ask you three more.
Yeah.
If you could, these are all just part of our get to know Chinny bit at the end. Nice bit of balance out at the end. If you could only drink 5 liquids for the rest of your life, what would it be?
5 liquids?
Yeah.
Wow. Rest of my life. Water.
Water 1.
Milk.
Yeah.
Love milk.
Chalky milk or normal milk?
Both.
So milk, chocolate milk.
And I need milk for my coffee, so.
True.
2
more. Any kind of fizzy drinks, any kind of...
Oh. Yeah, which ones do I pick? I do love like an alcoholic ginger beer. Ooh. Like that's like my go-to, just sit down and drink one of them.
Yeah.
And then a solo. I think there's nothing more refreshing than a solo on a hot day.
That's your summer go-to.
Shout out to my sponsors.
And this is a good one. We can't say doctor. If you weren't a physio, what would you be outside of being a doctor?
I think it'd probably be a teacher, to be honest. Yeah.
What would you teach?
I reckon science or maths. Like I don't think I'd be a PE teacher.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Science or maths. And then last one, I think is most important. Lucy wanted me to ask you when she can run next. When she can start running.
when she finishes her criteria.
Correct answer. When she ticks her boxes.
Yeah.
Sweet, 45 minutes, well done.
Yeah.
wrap it up on that. Any final words you want to say?
Nah, thanks for having me.
That's it. Wasn't too bad, was it?
Wasn't too bad. Nah, time flew.
I think I was thinking about us in probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's probably been on your mind every day.
Haven't slept since then, but yeah.
I did really well
last night.
So hopefully that's a good little episode just to get to know Chinny a little bit more and get him out of his shell and in front of everyone. So perfect. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.